Here we are. Good morning, Ruth. I see that you're telling us there's a birthday boy somewhere. Who is the birthday boy today? Because it sure isn't me. Hi, Shalom. Who is the birthday boy today? I love having birthdays out here. Robert. Oh, is it? Oh. Okay, hey, Robert, it's your birthday, pal. Hey there. Well, hey, it's good to see you, buddy. Oh, well, happy birthday. Goodness me. Well, welcome to your 40s. It's pretty exciting. I tell you what, for your birthday today, I've left out my headphones because it's not windy. So I thought you might be able to hear some of the birdies out in the distance. Hi, Sarah. Nice to see you. Good morning, everyone. Lovely to have you all here. Hi, Janice. Hey. Lovely to see everyone here. It's about 7 or 8 degrees this morning. And, hey, Hélène, bonjour. Bon matin. Hi, Casey. Well, first of all, we're not quite on time, so we'll wait to sing happy birthday. But I just always sign on a little early these days just to make sure everything is functioning. A little bit of wind that way. So if the wind bothers you, I can always put headphones in. But there's not much wind today. But I did decide to come up the hill. You will look in the background. If it looks a little hazy and smoky to you, it seems like the first day we've seen any smoke here. So obviously, tragically, my province is on fire right now. Not down here, but yesterday we were, I think officially 27 degrees Celsius. You spent in the sun probably 30. You will note on today's morning walk, I did not come out on my bicycle. That is because yesterday morning, I was up at 4 a.m. in Winnipeg, Manitoba. The evening before, I had a lovely, friendly barbecue over at Tara's house. I met, that is bear spray, Martina. It is absolutely bear spray. I met most of her family, 2 of her 4 daughters. I had a wonderful time with them. I got up at 4 a.m. yesterday, flew on time, landed in Calgary, and my buddy Rod picked me up. We came out here and we biked for over 4 hours. Now, again, I have the big e-bike, so it's not that my legs are tired. It's my arms like holding the gimbal because we did tons of off-road paths and the bouncing around. So I will go out biking again today, but it was gorgeous. But I wanted to get in as much biking as possible before all of a sudden they actually close even some of our paths because the fire risk is so high at the moment. So I'll put up definitely another 2 or a couple more this week, of course. Hi, Anna Marie. Good morning to you. I'll definitely put one up. I want to show you down at the Bow Falls where we're in high water. But when I came out this morning, I decided to come over this way. So I'm sort of near the Hoodoos. And if it, of course, is Robert's birthday, I know he loves the Hoodoos. But I wanted to show you, for both the good and the bad, the rather dramatic sky we have up in the distance here. See the sun up there? So there I'm really looking back up towards the north there, the north and the east. So you can see that the sun was just this huge kind of blood sun this morning. So I thought I would come out this way. The clouds are moving around it a little bit. There wasn't actually clouds really in the forecast, but I expect that smoke coming down from the north. So it is an incredible sky to look at. It's not, and it's interesting. I'm feeling a tiny bit raspy in my voice. I react so immediately to the smoke in the air. And for the most part, of course, the fires are all in the north of the province, the center of the north, and the way the Gulf Stream's been moving. Hi, Betsy. Well, exactly. That's where the smoke's moving right across the north of Canada and curving down towards mid-Atlantic U.S. Obviously, they did say the winds would be shifting a bit. So there we are. The province of Alberta is just covered in wildfires. There's mass evacuations way, way, way in the north. Lisa and Mom, lovely to have you both here. But these evacuations way in the north, there's a town called High Level. It's right up by the territories. And normally that's evacuation point for a lot of the reserves in the area, but all their accommodations full. So it's a pretty hefty thing. But all that noted, I mean, pretty incredible sky to see. So let's all start with, first of all, a good morning and an introduction. It's nice to have you here. It's lovely to still connect. So first of all, Oki, hello, I am on Treaty 7 territory here. So this is the land of the Stoney Nakoda, Blackfoot, Tsuut'ina, Métis, Treaty 3. But also, we have our friend Robert on board, who I have personally met on several occasions, and it's his birthday. So happy birthday, Robert Jean du Pays. C'est à ton tour de te laisser parler d'amour. So nice of you to join on for your morning. It's 7 a.m. here in the Canadian Rockies at the moment, so obviously 9 o'clock down there in Ottawa. So happy birthday, my friend. Lovely to have you here. Sorry, I'm just switching this around. And there is, of course, Sleeping Buffalo Mountain. We have got, I don't think I could ever show you because I have to have two hands. But we have quite strict rules where we're allowed to mountain bike in the park for all the right reasons. But there's so many paths that it's not a big issue. So we've got a very steep trail that winds down through there with like wood on it, you know, curves and bends. So we start down there and then loop down by the river below. This is why I am indeed wearing my bear spray. The bears are all wide awake, of course. Now my bike's pretty noisy, but I carry the bear spray with me all the time when I'm out there this time of year. Keep running into, well, white-tailed deer. We've got two groups that live down back here. Of course, this is cougar country. Everything around the other side of Sleeping Buffalo Mountain right now. So the Bow Falls are down in the distance. You're looking over at Sulphur Mountain, and of course you're seeing snow still up there, but there's the river just coming out of the Bow Falls, which are in full flood at the moment. Well, a little room for the river to come up, but there's just not a lot of snowpack. But when you get down around there, there's closures still all the way back there, and that's because the elk are having their babies around there. So we have closures in the winter because of the cougars, and then in the springtime because of the babies. Hi, Rose. Nice to see you here. So that's the Rimrock Hotel up in the distance up there, and of course the gondola that goes up to the top. There's an old service road at the back of Sulphur Mountain, and see how my shoulders feel today. I'm going to try and ride my bike all the way up it. My buddy's bike is more of a trail bike, whereas mine, of course, is quite an aggressive mountain bike, so his wouldn't have made it the whole way down. So interesting. There's something, and I'm just too far away, there's something, I expect it's a bird, floating down in the river. Right down there right now. The river's still a little murky, right? It doesn't have the lovely turquoise color because this is snow melt. I expect that's a bird just having a nice little cruise down. Of course, the next time I do a morning tour, we're going to go out and start to look for all our different duck species as well. But I'm hoping you can hear some of these birds that are just having their morning songs to each other. The migratory birds are coming in. It's of course, an amazing sky, but not necessarily for the right reasons. You know, you can immediately see the smoke that's up there in the distance. But let's take our first little peek at Mount Rundle right here. There you are, that dominant mountain peak, and not enough snow. Will park people help move baby wildlife? The reality is, that's quite an important question, Lisa. The long and short answer is no. The wildlife, what happens generally speaking when you have wildfires, wildlife goes down to water. And so, of course, we've only had prescribed burns here in Banff, but if you do get a real burn, when we had the ones in 2016 up in Fort McMurray, which were just tragic, there were many pictures of most species standing out in the rivers. So that tends to be what the animals do. In fact, I always think that I'm not going to see as many animals when the smoke comes in, because they do migrate down towards water. Now, hopefully, not obviously, this is just being purely selfish about it, hopefully the winds shift and push all that out to the east, because I can see that smoke is just tipping up and over into our valley here. I do want to show you, those are the world famous hoodoos. Look how good this reception is now. The Streamlabs is really working well all of a sudden. So those are hoodoos. And of course, I'm standing on a benchland formation here. Now, what is a benchland formation? Well, this huge strip of land that I'm walking on right through here is all ground up mountains. All right, so that's this huge strip down along by the river is all what was peeled off of these mountains as the glaciers, well, first grew and then receded back about 11,000 years ago. Hi, Danny. Nice to see you. Good morning to you. So I'm going to walk into the wind a little bit. If the wind does become a problem, tell me, and I'll put in my headphones. But it's so nice to hear the birds in the morning. that I wanted to keep the headphones off so you could hear the different variety of birds who are all singing their different songs at the moment. So I'm just down here on a trail. This is the kind of trail, believe it or not, that I do actually ride up and down with my bike. So it's pretty neat. You can see that this is, of course, just a natural effect of erosion. These are juniper berries here. And, oh yeah, and the wildflowers are coming out. In fact, why don't I just, for fun, show, here we go. Wildflowers are all popping out, which is just such a treat to see. They're just gorgeous this morning. So we've got flowers all over the place. There is no, as far as I know, there is no rain in the forecast at all. I think there's a little bit of rain up in the Northwest Territories at the moment. So that is good news because there's people evacuating all the way up to Yellowknife. But it's funny, those of you who have been on tours with us for quite a while, I mean, one of my concerns this winter was that we didn't have a ton of snowpack, and clearly it was drier up in the north. Oh, the wind is picking up a little bit here. Let's just see how we do for a couple minutes because I'll get back on a trail. There, of course, seeing as how we have a birthday boy here too, there's your beloved Cascade Mountain up there, Robert. So still, I mean, a good chunk of snow, but as we were saying yesterday, there should never, ever be this much, well, we should never be this hot in the month of May. Like, just never should we be this hot. And this is all the huge camping area up around here. Now, half of that stays open in the winter, and then half of it's cross-country ski tracks. Now it's all open, and lots of people coming in, of course. We're leading up. Next weekend is a long weekend in Canada. All right, friends in the UK, you'll find it surprising, but we actually celebrate Queen Victoria's birthday. So it's Victoria Day long weekend, and it's sort of become, I guess, the monarch's one. A lot of people don't even know that. We often consider that weekend kind of the start of the summer season here in Alberta, at least in the Rockies, and all the campgrounds ban alcohol because some people have been known not to behave themselves. I can tell you though, I remember the same buddy I was biking with yesterday, yeah, the May 2-4, and 2-4 is also code for a 2-4 flat of beer, right? But we went out on a climbing expedition in Kananaskis years ago, and I woke up in the tent at whatever time, 6 a.m. or something. I woke up and it was, I was so hot, I was sweating. And I looked outside, is it Martine? I didn't see that. And I looked outside and we had, 20 centimeters of snow all over us. So that ended the climbing. So I remember we got up and made a fire, and that was kind of our day. So, we can get the snow. Boy, oh boy, would we love to have a great snowfall across this province. Now, snow is wonderful for fires, even more effective than the rain because it just dampens them. But it's in the north, and the north of Alberta has a lot of peat, a lot of bog. But it's bog mixed in amongst forests, unlike, say, in the west of Ireland, where it tends to be very exposed. But because they're not getting the precipitation, the ground is actually catching on fire. So now if you look down at the ground here is different, of course, because we have very, very thin topsoil out here, right? So these kind of paths, like these are biking and walking trails, and they ask us not to leave the trails for all the obvious reasons. Erosion can happen extremely quickly in this part of the world. And of course, the growing season is short, reasonably intense, but short. At least it's nice and cool this morning, right? We'd like to see temperatures drop below freezing overnight because that just helps to reset everything. So this is, we're obviously just middle of May, whereas we're acting a lot more like early June, for example, weather-wise. So, but see these great big old Douglas fir trees, but of course they are old. These two big buddies here would probably be 250, 300 years old. And what tree is sort of starting to hit its time because you get a lot of this leaking coming out here of its sap. Now, this particular one, of course, is exposed to a path, but gradually they become unstable. Now, it's a long process. It is interesting exploring some of the back paths on my bike more than I would have done walking or skiing, how many trees clearly come down in the winter. Now we know about this, but you just don't see it. Incidentally, if a tree falls in the forest, yes, it does still make a noise. It's not all about us. I just like that one. But these are some of the aspen trees down here as well. Just like old people. Well, you know, it's interesting when I go out and get like 4 hours of solid exercise. My reception might dip a little bit, but I really like coming down just on this path here. So come with me. We'll even jog it for a minute. How's that? It's you know, that's why it's good to always mix up your exercise as well. Use our bodies in different ways. This is kind of fun. This old stump here, obviously tree fell and Parks cut it up. Little holes in it though, where woodpeckers have gone looking for animals in there. Oh, yeah. Just saw that the reception rate dropped just a little bit, but it's back to us and nice. Now, so we'll come to this overview. Yep, I can just feel that little bit of smoke. Now, clearly out towards Lake Louise and out towards British Columbia, Sundance Canyon's down the back of Sulphur Mountain there. Clearly, the smoke hasn't made it there, but it is distinctly making its way in here. So, but look at some of these views. Oh, hear a train way in the distance. Don't know if you'll pick that up. But there is Sleeping Buffalo Mountain, and then gorgeous Bourgeot and the Massif Range. Look at that, isn't that beautiful? So that one is interesting because when we had the heat dome 2 years ago, we broke every heat record. It lost just about all its snow on top. Usually the snow stays on top of that mountain year round, just that flat top up there. So it's already looking a little thin to me. Hi, Natalie. But when I come around the other way, this is why I decided to come this way today. Have a look at that sun up there. You're looking into that big Circ Valley, Mount Giroux and Inglesmaldy. And then further down towards Soaring Eagle or Picchi and Mount Lady MacDonald. Apropos, if you've never looked at virtually visiting, hi Susan, where I do the 360 videos. I haven't done a new one for a little while, so I will maybe work on one in the next couple of days. We'll see what happens. These are neat little plants here that talk about how these little flower collections stay alive in these rather extreme environments. But it is neat, and it does mention fungus and mosses. Although, of course, we don't have ferns, right? We don't. We have a different setup altogether. And there's the mountain chickadee, who you hear singing year-round. They come and hang out all the time. But what is so neat when you look down in the valley is this is your classic braided river now. This whole channel in front of me sits empty for about 9 months of the year. But now, as the melt has happened, or is happening, it's spread right out and it's wound its way around. This is why, particularly in northern environments, you really don't want to be building houses or anything right up against water, right? Because you can never control the ebb and flow when it's when they'll burst its banks. And some years, like in 2013, of course, we had a much heavier snowpack than normal, and then nothing melted till the middle of June. Well, we broke every rain record in one day, which we'd love to do now. And then that brought down all the snow, and that caused, of course, massive flooding. I think, don't quote me, but I think I just saw a little bat. We do have a couple of varieties of bats here. We don't see them too often. I see them out in the prairies a little bit more. They don't suck your blood. They're just lovely animals. But, so not for sure, but just the way it was flying felt. When you watch bats fly, of course, they use that really peculiar radar. And so they dart around going after little bugs. I don't know, I'm just looking up in this tree here. If there's any hope. It's so cool to see them. Yeah, so it is Robert's birthday, so I hope you're doing something fun with the family tonight. Birthdays are always just a nice excuse to have a bit of a party and a get-together. I'm going to do... Hi, Margaret. Good morning to you. I'm having I'm going to have a super healthy kind of detox week here, and then on next Tuesday, so a week today, I fly overnight and I go over to Amsterdam. Incidentally, I'm sure you're all aware, but Mark Law, that damn guide, has put up a tour, but on a different platform. So you have to buy a ticket. It's not very expensive at all, but but it is one where we've taken on quite a lot of costs because we've rented a boat for the canals. And Dave Kavanagh from Ireland is coming over to hang out with us too. Listen to those gorgeous birds this morning. Can't see them. And are you? I don't know who that is singing to me this morning, but lovely to hear. Oh, there you are up top. I see you. Oh, let me just do a zoom. What are you? I'm going to gonna have to go into my app afterwards and try and I'm probably not even up high enough. Don't know if you're catching the screen, but lovely. I think it's some kind of a finch. I can't quite see the tail, but there's someone way in the distance singing back to us. Oh no, that's the squirrel. It's making the noise in the back there. That lovely songbird giving us a morning. Good morning. But yeah, so here we'll just wander up to the viewpoint for the Hoodoos. So we're looking east now. We're looking the way you would drive out to the prairies, and it is always amazing to people. But from here, from the heart of the Canadian Rockies here, you only drive for about, from here it's about 20 minutes to the town of Canmore, and then about 20 more minutes, and boom, you're out in the foothills. You're out in the Stoney Nakoda lands, Stoney Nakoda First Nation. They are busy building the first animal overpass that's outside of the park, and it looks like it's about 2/3 of the way along. So that's really good news, right across the Trans-Canada Highway, and that's from Bow Valley Provincial Park. And once again, trying to open up the area for animal movements. So that is really good news. We're not, the good news here in Banff and Jasper, we're not on a fire watch at the moment. But the north of the province, really the only thing that'll make a difference now is some rain. Look how massive all this juniper bush is down here. Isn't that fantastic? And look at all, so this is why all the birds are so excited, because there are all sorts of just berries, juniper berries here. So loads for them to eat. I really love the overpasses too. And like everything, as always happens, when they first started developing them, I don't honestly know if this is the first place in the world that did them. But they had underpasses for a long time, but they built the overpasses, and then suddenly people thought, oh, it's way too much money. And they've been hugely successful. So usually when it comes to kind of wildlife analysis, I tend to side with the biologists who study that. Seems pretty reasonable. Look at this giant tree over here, this big healthy. That is a huge white bark pine. And that's the one that a lot of the birds go after, because the seeds are full of nutrition inside the pods. And so this particular slope has a lot of white bark pine and a lot of limber pine, which is a bit lower than you often find them. I just went up on the bike path, but that's okay. Nobody's racing along behind me. But yeah, we do, one of the circuits I do is cut into the trees up here, and then I can wind down the back. So I'm on Tunnel Mountain Road. Obviously you're aware that both Tunnel Mountain's officially Tunnel Mountain, but we tend to call it Sleeping Buffalo Mountain. I'm happy to leave this Tunnel Mountain Road, but Sacred Buffalo Guardian was the name of the mountain, and it really does make sense. And in case you've come in a little bit late and you want me to confirm, look back there and you see this perfect sleeping buffalo, the head on the right, the shoulder, and now just peeking out behind. Hi, Michelle, good morning. Just peeking behind is the Banff Springs Hotel. I'll get to a better point and then I'll do a zoom in and show you where the famous hotel is. So one of my neighbors is the hotel manager. I ran into him yesterday, and yeah, they're certainly ramping up for a very busy year. They haven't really had much downtime at all. It is interesting. The tour coaches are back, and they're really back. Now, obviously, I run a lot of tours, real 3D tours here in Banff. But the last 2 years, it's just felt so much more like car traffic. But clearly, the groups are back. And generally speaking, 90% of the drivers of these big tour coaches are really good and respectful. There's the odd one who tries to run their motor, and of course we have very strict no idling rules, and that gets a little hard when we get these days like yesterday where we hit 27 degrees Celsius, because you'll get pretty hot Also, another one of our issues when we get way hotter than we're meant to be is we have an awful lot of outdoor public toilets. and they can be a little distinctly smelly when when it stays hot much longer than it should. Yeah, I'm just going to let you listen to these birdies. There's another one just up here. Let's hear some nice little stories. Birds are just having lovely mornings. This is where it's nice to be back in nature. See the two tones of the water out there? Yeah, I am, I've said it so many times, I feel so deeply honored. Oh, I just want to show you this for a second. Sorry, I'm just going to change subjects for a second. So there's birdies all over this tree, but now I see why. So part of this tree had something traumatic happen to it at some point, but woodpeckers will have opened. I've never noticed this before. Sorry, I'm just trying to get the zoom in again. There, see that hole? So woodpeckers will have opened that up, and I bet you anything, some of these little sparrows are maybe nesting in there now. So that'll be just a natural bird's nest. If you've ever had the chance of seeing a hummingbird nest, never ever go near them, but they build little hanging baskets. And we do have a hummingbird population. We're not allowed to put out any bird feeders, which I agree with totally, because of course hanging sugar outside your house in bear territory is not a good idea whatsoever. But I haven't seen any hummingbirds yet. Mind you, I haven't been home very much either. Oh, look. Look at you. Gorgeous little flowers are just popping up. This means maybe this week I might have to make my way over to Mount Yamnuska and go see if some of the paintbrushes come out or anything. So I've got lots of ideas for some tours this week with everyone. So I make my way just around. All the bushes are coming out now. There in the distance, down the valley, that is the Banff Springs Hotel, ladies and gentlemen. So the granddaddy of all those great train hotels. Of course, the last few days I've been staying in the Garry in Winnipeg, the Fort Garry, which was not built by Canadian Pacific, but another one of the great train hotels that are synonymous with this country and travel in this country. Oh, that was a woodpecker. There's no way I would have got it. That was a woodpecker. Just, they look like fighter jets as they zoom along. See, so there's so much life out here this morning. I am taking my kid into school today because he's got something that he has to do and has to pick some things up. So I'm going to be doing that. But let's come say hi to the Hoodoos. What the heck is a hoodoo? This one on the right, I actually have a little YouTube video from Drumheller of those Hoodoos in the Badlands. These are the famous ones. They're actually quite small out there. But this is just peaks of erosion. Now, there's different types of Hoodoos around the world, right? When I was in Cappadocia in the center of Turkey, they were different altogether because they were ash from volcanoes, whereas these ones, of course, are ground up mountains, or in this case is actually compressed land, sedimentary land, way back to the inland sea that was here about 500 million years ago. And this area around Drumheller is one of the top places in the world to find dinosaur bones. So look up, limber pines ahead. So that's the limber pine country as we get up above the white bark pine country, and then back to our lodgepole pine and our Douglas fir trees. So let's just go up to the big chairs here. It's my pleasure, Anne-Marie. I love taking you here. As I say, I might put up like an evening walk today or tomorrow, and I want to take you down to the Bow Falls because they're in pretty much full volume at the moment. But as soon as I came out and saw this sun today, I thought, oh no, I'm going to have to come this way. So it's I broke my own rules, though. I did take the car out. Hello. There is a festival of birdies happening in here. I feel like a bird and a squirrel just had a disagreement in the trees based on the racket that just came out. And the ravens, of course, are flying around. So back in 2017, when we had our 150th anniversary of Canada as a confederation. Oh, there's somebody up here. They put the red chairs everywhere, and of course they're fun to see all over this country now. I just go quietly, let someone have their morning contemplation. But oh, here's some of the cones that come off the whitebark pines right there. And animals will have dug into that and enjoyed that yummy, yummy food for them. Personally, I think it's nuts. So there are the hoodoos down below us, right there. You know, Margaret, the sky is fantastic this morning, but it's fantastic, unfortunately, because of forest fire smoke. And I can see that it is settling around now, because way in the distance there, you can see, like, it should be clear as a bell today, and you're seeing that light. It is, Sarah. It's a lovely place to contemplate. You know, and it's right now, of course, the birdies are telling us so many stories this time of year. As you know, beautiful May for them. There we are. Isn't that a trail? This should be one of those motivational posters, you know, this trail. There it is. But what a sun to see. I don't like it as much as I like my sun, but I feel like I need this one in order to stay alive. So let's just curve around for a moment, everyone. There's some limber pine right over here. Oh, and another birdie just singing. So hopefully you're hearing some of the songs. So, well, ladies and gentlemen, listen, it's so nice to connect with all of you. And it's always nice to... Oh, actually, hold on. Gentleman's just leaving, so I'll just come over to one of the seats here. But it's so nice to connect, and I know that people really love these morning walks out. And even, okay, hold on. Now there's an interesting word. What are you? Where? You are right in this tree here. Oh, I think it's a Clark's Nutcracker. Right down in there. Nice. Yeah. It's either a gray jay or a Clark's Nutcracker. Have to see the size of the beak, because apparently size matters. But it's got to be a Clark's, because it's doing exactly what a Clark's would do in that tree down there. Yeah, we do in the fall. We see loads of them around here together. They do stay all winter. Some of them precocious birds, indeed. So I tell you what, Robert, happy birthday to you. Say hi to the family. And it's nice to have everyone here. Oh, a few other people just coming up the way. So it's nice to have you all here. I am going to go home and finish my tea and let's let these folks. Morning.
How you doing?
Okay, thanks. So I'll just say a big warm thank you for everyone joining me. If you're willing to make a donation, it's much appreciated. There's obviously a link in the description. I think we may actually have enough hours now completed to be monetized on YouTube, but I'm not going to do anything about it till I have time to really sit down and learn all about that. So big hugs to all of you. So there's just one last thing that's important. Now, you know, when we do here, I'll turn. Oh, there's a squirrel telling us a story right there. That's a little one just bounding along. But you know, when you are out here in the mountains, now of course, when the stream ends, it always seems kind of abrupt. But I always like to leave you with some words of wisdom, right? So in this particular case, if you were actually, sorry, my screen's not there. If you were actually walking in the woods here and you lay down and you suddenly felt this little chirping by your ear,